everybody, and welcome to another episode of Straight Talk No BS. It's your girl Chris,
And this is Landria.
and today we're going to discuss the importance of communicating your sexual desires with your partner. Okay, like this is something that is super, super, super important to discuss.
No, I agree. You have to discuss your most intimate sexual desires with your partner. If you don't discuss it with them, how are they supposed to know what pleases you, what you like, or even the communication? I
I
think
mean,
if
I
they
don't
discuss
think it
it
should be
often,
every partner. I don't think like every partner you lay with shouldn't get to know that side of you in a sense. I think you should save some of that desire or that level of intimacy for the one.
um, yes. Well, it all depends on what your status is. Are you single? Are you dating? Are you married? That's a determining factor. But I think everyone has to be true to themselves as to what they like and what they don't like, and they need to communicate it to whoever it is that they're actually being intimate with. I think it depends. I don't think it depends on what it is. You many times people are out there being intimate with individuals and they're not pleased. That the individual they're actually laying down with is just a waste of their time. It happens quite often. They may not articulate to that person, that individual, that they weren't satisfied, or they don't like how they are in the bedroom, or the experience they just had. They don't communicate it. They need to start communicating it, or even ask questions before it even gets that far. That's something that people could start doing, having conversations before you actually have the act. Um, and if you find that throughout the moments that you're having, that individual is not doing something that you like, or what they're doing with you don't like, stop them in the middle of the act and tell them. Say, hey, I don't like when you're doing this. It doesn't feel right. Or
In the
I like
middle of the act,
why lay there and pretend that you're being satisfied and you're not?
I'm not
Why?
saying to lay there and pretend. I'm just like, maybe do something different, like maybe move a little bit, or maybe be like, move up here, like I wouldn't say stop in the middle of it and be like, hey, I don't like that. Can you maybe do this? Like that's kind of like a turn off in a sense in the middle of the act. I mean, I feel like it should be said either prior to or maybe after in a more comfortable setting, because you have to think about people's feelings too, their egos too.
Well, most men try to give you the impression they know what they're doing, and the majority of them don't know what they're doing in the bedroom. And we women have
Exactly.
to lay there and pretend as if they're satisfying us, and they're not satisfying us. So why not let them know, hey, if you want to be intimate with me, this is what I like and this is what I don't like. Why pretend, or why not say anything and continue going through emotions that you're not being satisfied?
I'm not saying to pretend. I'm just saying don't do it in the act of while you're being intimate. That's not the appropriate time to tell that partner that. Like, I think it should be done in a different setting, prior to you being intimate
I
or
I
after.
agree. I mean, I agree. In one of the healthiest ways to communicate that is to have a conversation prior to. But most times, if you're starting out with friends and the person you're getting to know, you really want to get to know them, then yes,
Hmm.
you can have those conversations. When that time comes, you talk about intimacy. You talk about what you like and what you don't like and what you expect. I mean, that will be the proper time to have those conversations. But most times, it doesn't happen like that, and most times it happens when you're in the act, where the woman is, she's ready, she's geared up, she's ready to have a good time, and then she gets disappointed. She'll be disappointed in like a minute. So I think that, women, majority of us women, we don't want to hurt the man's ego. We don't want to let him know, hey, this is not pleasing me, or you're not pleasing me. We do save their egos. We do it more times than we should have to. And some men do get in their feelings when you do point out to them that they're not satisfying you. But again, that's a conversation that mature adults should have. I would rather, I wouldn't want to pretend. I would rather, let my partner know and say, hey, can you slow it down a minute? Or hey, 1 second. And I would say, in a gentle way, obviously, um, this doesn't really feel too comfortable for me. Why don't you try this? Or I would take control of the situation to let him know what I do like. But I wouldn't be able to just lay there and take it knowing that I'm just wasting my time. Why would I want to just waste my time like that? I could be doing something else.
Like that's what I would do too. Like I agree with that. Like I would roll over a little bit and tell him, like, go up, or something, give some sort of direction in a sensual way that will still make it an intimate moment. Like, I wouldn't go deep and be like, I don't like when you do this, I don't like when you do that,
No,
you
no,
gotta try
I
this
wouldn't.
better.
I
Like,
wouldn't say I don't like it. I would just be kind with my words. I would definitely say, hey, um, or I may not even tell him. I may take control of the situation
right,
and then
right.
dominate it myself. And then
Mm-hmm.
after we're finished, then I would say to him, hey, when you were doing this here, I felt a little uncomfortable, or
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't working for me. So that's why I took control of the situation. And I started to lead you because I know this is what I like and I didn't want to, hurt your ego. I have done that before. I have done that. I've articulated before if I haven't been satisfied. I've had conversations like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think if people are in relationships, especially marriages and relationships, they should have those conversations. There are so many couples, whether they are married, engaged, or in, committed relationships, that they don't be totally honest with their partner. They need to be totally honest. There are so many people in relationships that are not satisfied with their partner sexually. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Intimacy and touching each other is one of the most important ingredients in a relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be the complete act, but some form of intimacy, whether it be touching and holding, some type of contact is very important. And intimacy is one of them. If men and women communicated more often as far as what they like, what they want to experience, things they may want to try, why not try it with your partner? Why not say to your partner, hey, babes, we've been together over a decade, let's try something different? Why not go to your partner first? Why go outside the relationship? If they talked about their desires and their wants and needs, and they at least give their partner the opportunity to meet them halfway or to try or experiment different things, that will be half the battle right there of having a healthy relationship, especially in the bedroom. I believe that is when you don't communicate, then the other partner, the other person goes outside of your relationship to look to seek elsewhere for satisfaction. And most times when men do seek outside for a third person, has nothing to do with love. It's just them getting their rocks off or trying to get a desire met. So why not, be open to your partner, males and females, and have a conversation? I see nothing wrong with it. You can be freaky with your partner, right? Why not?
Well, you're supposed to be. Yeah, isn't that the idea? if
Yes,
you're
it
if
is.
you're being intimate, if you're doing that, then that's the idea, right?
Right. We all have experienced some form of a disappointment in the bedroom. We've all experienced it. I have experienced it. I'm sure you've experienced it. And we have just said nothing. I just experienced a disappointment. And in the back of our minds, we're thinking to ourselves, this will never happen again, ever happen again. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but also with maturity, um, I have no problem having conversations of directing a situation or leading a situation or even stating my desires and wants and needs. You have to do that. In order to have a healthy relationship and healthy communication, you have to be able to know how to talk. And women and men have to be open to hear their partners when they talk and not look at their partners where something's wrong with them or to judge them. You have to listen. Because if not, the consequences of you not listening pushes them into the arms of somebody else, right? You got to talk. And if what their desires are is too much for you to handle, or you feel to yourself, I cannot handle that, or I'm not prepared to, then let that person know. And then you have to handle that situation when that time comes of how you're going to move forward. If the individual knows, no, absolutely not, you don't want to do something or you're not comfortable with it, see if there's a compromise. If there's no compromise and you're adamant no, and they're adamant they want to do what they want to do, then you got to make a decision, right? Make a decision. I mean, it
Yeah.
sounds easy, but most people are afraid.
You make
I
it,
mean,
you definitely make it sound like it's very easy and
yeah,
simple. And
I,
I'm sure it's not.
I mean, but why not? I mean, I can understand in your late teens and 20s, you may not know how to have that conversation. But as you become more mature and you realize exactly what you like, most people in their teens and early 20s, they're not really sure what they want. Everyone at that moment is in that lust phase that you're hungry and you're hungry and horny or whatever you want to call it. But as you get older and more mature, you then tend to slow down and know exactly what you want. You know exactly what pleases you. You know exactly how you want to be treated in the bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
how you want to be held and caressed, and you know what you want. I can say now, in my early teens and 20s, I really didn't know what I wanted. I really didn't know how to even express myself how I do now. Nobody does. But it's as you get older, you know what you like, you know what you don't like, you know how you want to be held, caressed, even kissed. You know how you want your face to be held, your body to be caressed. You know certain spots that ignite you, that makes you,
Mm-hmm.
want to
Mm-hmm.
just, rip that man apart. That comes with, maturity. If you're in your 30s,
Experience and
huh?
lots of practice, because you
Yes,
don't know that without going through the motions and getting
correct.
practice.
Right. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, right. So that comes with a maturity. When you get in your late, I would say your 30s, late 30s, 40s, 50s, you should know at that point exactly what you like. And you should be mature enough to be able to articulate to your partner, whether they're older than you or younger than you, what you like. There are some men and women that just prefer oral. That's their thing. There are some men and women that like the whole ambiance behind it. They like all the candles and the flowers and all of that to go with it. Some people like that. Some like wham bam, thank you, ma'am, a little quickie. So once you're able to identify with what makes you tick, what you like, why not communicate it to your partner? Why not? Why be dissatisfied? You only got one life, right? You only have one life. Why not communicate that to your partner first and give your partner the opportunity to be able to fulfill your needs? And for men, be open if your partner says to you, because again, men, there's a little double standard there. A man wants to be able to tell their women or their woman, I like ABCD. Most men's fantasy is what? A threesome? That's most men's fantasy. Okay, now if your woman agrees to that, what if your woman comes to you and says to you, well, you know what, honey, to be quite honest with you, you haven't really been satisfying me for the last 2 or 3 years. I don't particularly like when you do A, B, C, D. I don't particularly like, how you make love to me. It's not turning me on. I'm just going through the motions. How many men can really handle a conversation like that? They should be able to handle that conversation, right? Because when they do certain behaviors towards the women, we women have to accept those bad behaviors and continue to be in love with them and continue to just go on with life, correct? So, majority of these men, even the men that step out on their partners, they step out on their partners, we women forgive, but if these women really told their partners exactly how they feel in the bedroom regarding their intimacy, a lot of these men would be shocked. Half of them think they're doing something, they ain't really doing anything in the bedroom. They're not really doing anything. They're not really putting it down like that.
How do you know that? You talking for everybody like
Well, you know what?
everybody that told you everything.
I guess I'm coming from a standpoint of I know me. Like I can say honestly that for the first time in my life, I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I know how I want to be treated. I know how I want to be handled. I know what turns me on. I know for myself, if a man smells good, that's a plus. I'm all about the smell. If it's
Yep,
like
yep.
I love men that have their signature smell, their signature scent, whether it be that cologne they wear. They have a signature. So even when they're not with you, it could be a certain breeze that may come across you that gives you that feeling like I can smell them. Or you still smell them after they leave you. You can smell their essence on your pillow or your sheets. For me, that's a turn on. A man's smell, absolute turn on. You have to have a signature smell that I like. That's half the battle right there. And I'm speaking for myself. And I'm big on hygiene. You got to have your nails. I'm big on hygiene, tongue, teeth, hands, feet, because it's about grooming yourself. You got to be taller than me. Got to be able to talk. Got to be able to have a conversation. Got to be able to know how to take control. And you know what I'm saying? Like be an alpha male, take control, but still be able to be a gentleman at the same time. For me, this right there are turn-ons. And we should be able to have an open conversation about any topic. If a man can
Mhm.
communicate and have a conversation with me and be honest, and we can have that honest conversation and be able to disagree and agree, that's a plus for me. That's a plus. Most men that I've come into contact with, the minute that there's a conversation that may not be going their way, or I'm not yesing them, or I'm not that yes woman, because I'm not a yes woman. They tend to get in their feelings, and they be in their feelings for about maybe 4 to 5 days. They get in their feelings and whatnot, and they may not call me or text me or something, thinking that is bothering me. But I already identified with, okay, here we go. He's in his feelings for the next 4 or 5 days. So by Thursday, he'll reach out to me. Like, I already know the behavior. That behavior is a turn off. That type of behavior right there, when you're up in your feelings, when you can't handle conversation, or a conversation makes you uncomfortable and you don't want to have that conversation. For me, that's a complete turn off, because you can't possibly want me to be intimate with you and you can't have a conversation. Who does that, right? I mean, who does that? No.
Oh, a lot of people do that.
But I can't do that. If you can't have a conversation, you can't possibly expect me to open the golden gates for you to enter, and you can't have a conversation. Forget about it. That ain't happening. That's a waste of time. And if you can't communicate, that indicates to me you definitely can't communicate or please me in the bedroom. So we're not even going to go there. We're not. It's a turnoff. Imagine me telling an individual like that, let's try this or try that. Nobody got time for that. There's nobody got time for that. No.
Got time for what? Like offering suggestions of what to try?
Yes, listen, I have no problems offering suggestions. I have no problems in trying things. I have no problems. I mean, speaking for myself, having a conversation, trying things, watching porn, why not? If you're dating a guy and you and the guy are trying to build something, and part of building something, you have that area of intimacy. Don't you want to be pleased, both of you? Don't you want to please him? You want him to please you? Why wouldn't you have a conversation?
I mean, that's true. Yeah.
Right. Why wouldn't you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you be more comfortable talking to your girlfriend about your needs and wants than the man you're laying down with?
There could be reasons. Maybe your partner's uncomfortable with having that conversation. Just like how we spoke about last time, when people are uncomfortable about, discussing death and life insurance. There's some people who are, reluctant to express their intimacy or how they feel or what they need. So I think we just have to get used to allowing other people to be themselves and not overwhelming them with our personality, in a sense. So like, if that person does not agree 100% with what you say, you're just going to up and leave. Be like, all right, well, I'm out of here. You can't please me, so I got to go.
No, but eventually I'm going to lose interest. I'm going to be honest. But eventually I can only attempt so many times to have a conversation with you. I can only pretend so many times to be pleased. I can only smile.
No one's asking you to pretend. This is after you've had the conversation. After you've had the conversation, you're not pretending, you discussed it, but your partner just is reluctant. He doesn't, like, they don't feel this on the same level as you. They don't feel the same page as you, right? Maybe they want to try it. They want to try different things, but they're just hesitant to. They're not comfortable with doing that. So how do you get around that? How do you make your partner more comfortable or on the same level of comfortability as you are? And then if they're not ever going to be that comfortable with you, are you just going to be just to throw that whole partnership away?
I would, because I wouldn't want to cheat on them. I would.
So that means that intimacy is a top priority for you in a relationship. There's some people that it's not a top priority for them.
Right, but for those people, it works for them. For me, communication, intimacy.
But which one's more important, communication or intimacy?
That's a tough question. Communication or intimacy?
Because somebody could sit there and really just screw your brains out, but don't talk to you. Then what?
Then that would be his position. That's all he'd be worth.
Somebody could talk to you to death and communicate and reach your inner depths of your soul.
And we'll just
can't be intimate.
Both categories. And if I'm single, they'll both just be friends. And that's exactly what their purpose is. And I would tell both of them.
Okay.
That's what I would do. I wouldn't lie. I would not lie and try to deceive either one of them. And I would not pretend that I'm only seeing one person. I will constantly remind them every so often that I'm single and that I'm dating. And the one that I'm intimate with, then he would know I'm just being intimate with him. And the one that I'm communicating with, then he would know I'm only communicating with him, but have no interest in being intimate with them. I would tell him.
Mm-hmm.
And if either one of them choose or say to me they want more, and I know I'm not capable of doing that, but they don't like check all the other boxes for me, I would
Mm-hmm.
tell them, I will be honest, I wouldn't continue seeing them. I wouldn't do that.
Gotcha.
I'll let
Okay.
it go. Yeah, I would let it go. I wouldn't do that. One thing I would not do is deliberately lie or deliberately um uh I would not deliberately lie or continue a relationship with anyone that I know there's no future. If they understand and we have an understanding that all we're doing is being intimate, and he's in agreement and I'm in agreement, but they also know there's no commitment, but I'm also being safe. And I know that if the day came I met someone that's fulfilling me and communicating with me and sexually, they would know I will leave. I would not string them along. I would not do that. I'll be honest and tell them. I wouldn't ever want anyone to feel that I'm stringing them along for my own benefit and I'm just, misleading them. I would never want to do that. So I'll
Yeah.
be honest. I will be honest, and I would tell them. And however it falls after that, I would deal with it.
Okay. All
But
right.
I definitely would not do that. That's one thing I wouldn't do. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. But if most people, whether they're married or in relationships, I think that would eliminate majority of the infidelity that goes on, the cheating that goes on in relationships. If they just talk, half the time a man cheating on a woman or cheating on their wives or their girlfriends has nothing to do with love.
How do you
It's
know
just
that?
because I speak to a lot of men that cheat on their wives.
Oh
I
my
have
God.
men, I no, I'm telling you, I know men that do step out on their wives.
Mm-hmm.
I've had men that are married that have hit on me. And I have said to them, what are you doing? Aren't you married? Like, dude, really? You shouldn't even be approaching me. You're married. Go talk to your wife about what you're looking for. If
Mm-hmm.
you want
Mm-hmm.
your wife to dress up in lingerie, tell her, ask her to. Go shopping with her and go buy her the lingerie. If you want your wife to be a freak, go watch porn with your wife. I have no problems in telling a married man or any man that's involved in a woman, whether it be a boyfriend, girlfriend relationship, or fiance or married, or even a baby mama or baby daddy situation. I have no problems telling that man, dude, I don't do that. I'm not stepping in. I'm not getting into that situation. You need to go talk to your significant other, no matter what classification they fall in, and let them know exactly what your needs are. And if you want your girl to be a freak and you want her to bend her, you want to smack her booty, whatever the case may be, then you need to go to him and say, honey, can we have a conversation over some wine? And go set the mood. That's the problem right there. If men just take the time out to talk to and women too, talk to their partners and let their partner know, listen, it's going to be a difficult conversation. If the man feel their woman may not look like how she looked before kids, then you know what? You ain't got to tell her that she's put on weight, but you can say, hey, babes, you know what I was thinking? Why don't we start getting walking evenings? That's like an indirect way. See what I'm saying? But it's still tastefully done. You can say, hey, babes, I was thinking, why don't we as a family go for a walk 3 times a week? We can walk along the beach, walk along. You can do that. You can help to take the cooking, role every so often, cook dinner maybe twice a week or whatever. You can make a healthy meal. So if your partner you feel may not look the same body wise, she may have had a couple of children or whatnot. You can't penalize her for that and look for a more attractive, tighter body, for a woman. You can't do that. The woman just gave you children. She just gave you life. You got to respect her. You have to respect her. So if you feel she may not be sexy or attractive when you first met her, then there's something wrong with you as a man. You have to man up. That's part of the package. She gave you children. So have a conversation with her, make her feel good about herself, because chances are she probably feels a little insecure already having children. She probably senses you may not be physically attracted to her or even visually attracted to her like you used to be. We know, we women know, we can feel it. We can tell how you don't really touch us like how you used to, or you may not make little statements, whatever. We know. You think we don't know, but we know. So what you need to do as a man is make us feel comfortable, make us feel sexy no matter what size we are. So if that means you have to come home and say, hey, babes, I got a babysitter, the kids are getting to my mom's house, and you get 2 bottles of wine and you pick up some lingerie for her and you guys watch a little porn or dance around naked, whatever you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Bring back to fire your relationship. Don't seek, some type of satisfaction outside the relationship. You got to communicate. That's why it's important, even for women.
But what if your partner does not want to do those things?
Then you have to have a serious conversation with them, and it should go something like this. Hey, babes, I know last month we talked about how we're both not satisfied with each other intimately. And I don't want to hurt your feelings, and I don't ever want to cheat on you or see someone else. I don't want to. However, we have discussed it. You don't want to be intimate with me. I do need some type of intimacy. We have to come to a common ground. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to cheat on you, but I still feel like I need to be intimate. Can you give me a solution? Or would you mind if I did meet somebody and I tell you, and that's all it is, are you okay with it? Have that conversation, because you know why? What else they expect you to do, right? If you come to them as your husband or wife and tell them this is what you're struggling with, and you try to give a solution, can we go talk to somebody? Another solution, can you meet me halfway? Another solution, if we try this, will it work? And you give 4 or 5 different solutions and they're not budging. At that point right there, if you do happen to engage in conversation with someone else and you happen to cross that line, I'm not even mad at you. You know why? You came to your partner in the most respectful way possible. You asked, you look for solutions. You told them you weren't satisfied. You told them how it makes you feel. You told them you don't want to lose them. You want to go to counseling. Can we try something different? Can we watch porn? I'm working with you. I'm doing everything possible, and you just want to just be stuck where you are. That if push comes to shove, and it really means a lot to me to be fulfilled, whether it be just being happy, and happy means being able to communicate or be myself or have a fulfilling, healthy relationship. If we have to part ways, I don't want to, but we may have to separate. I wouldn't want to hurt the partner. I would have that conversation. You try.
I don't know. I'd be mad if my partner came to me and said to me out of the blue of 7 years of being together, and out of the blue you come to me and you tell me that you want to, for instance, you want to do anal. And I'm just like, I'm not interested in doing that. Like, I don't. Well, let's watch some porn. Let's watch some porn on it and see how you like it. Maybe you like watching it. Okay. No, I don't want to watch anal. I don't want to watch. I don't want anal. I don't want to watch it. I don't. You can't bring me to therapy to try to have a therapist convince me to go do anal. So if that's the case, if you're going to break up our 7-year relationship because I won't try a new sexual position with you, then we wasted 7 years of our relationship, of our life.
If it means that much to them, if it means that much to them, they want to try it, go buy them a toy, try to make a solution, whatever the case.
If it means that much to you, you wouldn't have told me 7 years later and put me in a predicament. You would have told me from jump. You told me from the first time we met. You would have told me from the very beginning. You would have told me prior to.
Right, but that's the reason why you have to have conversations before you even jump the gun and go and get married.
You can't sit there and throw a wrench and demand change and then just be like, all right, well, I'm up and leaving if I don't get what I want. Like, that's not a relationship. That's one-sided to me. To me, that sounds very one-sided. Like, if you're in a relationship, that's two people. That's two people that have two different feelings, two different emotions, and that needs to communicate in order for it to grow. So if one person is saying, this is what I want, and this is what I'm demanding, and I'm not budging, then I'm leaving because you won't want to give it to me, then that's also a form of emotional abuse. And that's a form of, but it's emotional abuse.
Well, I look at it like this. Before you got married, you should have had a conversation about it. If neither one of you had a conversation about what makes you tick and what you like, and nothing was discussed, you guys were just in the moment where you said I do, he said I do, you're happy you're getting married, he's happy he's got a wife, and neither one of you decided to have a conversation about expectations or what he expects of you and you expect of him, then at that point, if that conversation comes up and he never gave you a clear understanding of, I expect this here from you as my wife, and you say, well, dude, you never discussed that with me. You never brought it up. It's been 7 years. I'm not doing it. Then you got to make a decision. Part ways. Part ways. You have every right to part ways with them. Every right. You have every
Yeah,
right to part ways.
everybody has every right to part ways. I'm just saying that that's a very selfish thing to do, to
I
part
don't think
ways
so. It's not
of a
selfish.
it is selfish because you're basically saying that if you don't give me what I want today, I'm leaving. And that's very selfish because in a relationship, you know that you change and you grow as time progresses, right? You're not going to be the same person you are in year 1 that you are in year 7. That's not going to be. So, in a sense, like you're supposed to be willing to grow and change with your partner. So you're saying if at one point your partner wants to change, you out. You got the same as when I saw you when you was at year 1. Now I gotta
No, but
go.
listen, you just no, but listen to what you just said. You just finished saying that as the years go on, people mature, people want to do certain things, and your partner could very well mature and say, I want to try something different. And that one thing he wants to try different, maybe trying anal one time with you. That could be the one thing with growth. He may their desires may change as you grow. Maybe in his
Yeah,
20s he got married or 30s you got married. It didn't
yeah,
interest him. But as he got older, he thought to himself, you know what? We've always done militant, doggy, this, that. I want to try this. At least try it once with my wife or with my partner. Or she may even say to her husband, I want to try it at least once. That also comes to growing. You just said it. It comes to the growing and maturing, and you want to try something different. His
yeah,
coming, he or she is coming to you as your partner to have this conversation with you. You are their partner, not somebody else
yeah.
coming to you.
Absolutely, but I don't think it should. I don't think it should matter when if you're married, dating, just start meeting or talking to somebody. Like if you are going to be intimate with that person at any given moment you plan on being intimate, I feel like you know that moment's going to come. You feel
Yeah,
it.
talk about it.
Both parties feel it. That moment's going to come and you're going to be intimate with the other person. So I feel like that at that moment is when it should be discussed. Like what
But
you
that's my
like, what
point.
you don't
But that's my
like.
point. What's your deal breaker?
But
Like, what's your deal
right.
breaker?
But if
And if
that
mhm,
changes, but if that changes 7 years later,
then you have to let
that
them know. You say to
you
them,
have
listen,
to
I told you
let them
7 years ago,
yeah, but let
I'm
them know.
not
But it
doing it.
doesn't mean that let them know, but it doesn't mean that I'm gonna let you know and that's what I want to do now and you're not
No,
doing it for
but
me, so
if
I gotta
you
go.
if you had that conversation, you said to him, yo, listen, I would never do anal. I'm not comfortable with it. I would never do it. I don't care what you say. I don't care if it's 10 years from now, 15 years from now. And he comes to you and says, well, this is what I want to do. I say, well, you know what? I told you in the very beginning before we got married, that's a deal breaker. I'm not bending, I'm not changing. I told you that. If it means that much to you, I can't stop you. But what I am gonna do, if it means that much to you, we're going to work something out, and it's either we have to go our separate ways and get a separation, or but I'm adamant. I told you in the beginning, I'm not doing it. I'm not changing my mind. He knew at that point. That's different. He knew.
I'm not
He
saying that I'm not saying that he knew, right? Or she knew. If at all in the beginning of the relationship it was addressed what you like and what you didn't like intimate wise. And then that was done. That was done during the intimacy level for 7 years. You did it. But then now at year 7, it's like, damn, I want to try something new now. Like, I told him I liked 7 years ago, told him what I liked 7 years ago, but now I'm different now. I want to try something new. Now I tell
yeah.
my partner that I want to try this or, let's do this. Say it is bring a third party into the room. Yeah, I want to have a threesome. Say it is
Mm.
something like that. And your man or your woman may not be interested in the threesome. Like I don't believe that intimacy at something of that level is that magnitude to cause the end of a relationship or end of a marriage. A
Um,
threesome, doing anal, I feel like that is a as a selfish move because you're no longer thinking about your relationship. And when you're in a relationship, that's exactly what that is. You're a unit, you're a team. You're no longer it's we, it's us. So to me, it's not. It was never us. It was always you.
for me, see, this is how I look at it. As husband and wife, I consider husband and wife us. We're a unit because husband and wife, if something of this magnitude comes up, and him and I had listen as scenario. if my husband and I are married, we had the communication we talked about, and I say to him, my deal breaker is cheating. If you ever cheat on me and I ever find out and we have a strong communication, but you still felt the need to cheat on me and I find out, that's my deal breaker. If I tell him that as my husband, if we took those vows and he cheats on me, I'm out. I'm not changing my mind. Children involved, pets involved, it doesn't matter. You know my deal breaker.
Absolutely.
If I'm in a boyfriend girlfriend relationship or engagement or whatnot, and you cheated me, whatever the case may be, or something happens, I'm not going to marry you. That's still going to be my deal breaker. That's
Yeah, but you see what that is? Like cheating is another selfish act because you stepped outside of that union you created. You only thought about yourself in that moment. So now you're gone. So yeah, that is a
I'm
deal
done.
breaker because he or she did a very selfish thing by stepping out on the union, on the
Right, that's a deal
partnership.
breaker. But if I'm in a relationship as boyfriend, sorry, boyfriend and girlfriend, or we're just chilling or whatever, and you do something, whether it be communicate with somebody, or you try to do a intimate move that I've already told you no, and you still try to do it and whatnot. How my mind operates, I wouldn't say I'm not taking you seriously, but I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket because in my mind, it's like, I'm not saying there's an expectation of there's going to be a screw up, but you haven't really committed yourself to me. So it's like when you make demands of certain magnitudes, like what you're discussing, you're discussing adultery. It's certain things I feel is between husband and wife. That's how I view it. I think there are certain things that should never be discussed if you're just boyfriend and girlfriend or just living together or you're just meeting somebody. It's certain things you just don't do. Like I personally feel if you're going to talk about to somebody, you want to do something like a threesome. If you're okay with that and that's something you're ready to participate in, kudos to you. If that's not your cup of tea, and then you and your husband, and again, you and your husband both decide it's something you want to kind of like, dabble in and see what's going on. That's between you. That's an act I feel that should be between you and your husband. See what I'm saying? It's certain
Oh
things
yeah, for sure. Like I
between
agree
you
with
and your
you.
husband.
I agree with you. There's
Not
certain
not
levels,
just random
but
people, not just random people, just you and your husband, randoms.
but like you
And
said
I also
earlier, like
feel
some people are freaks. Like they want to do that
right,
threesome stuff and with whoever they find.
right. Well, that's true. Some people may just want to do that, but I also feel that it's some things are supposed to be sacred. Like I'm a little old school of certain things. There are some things that are supposed to be a little old, like I'm old school, so some things are supposed to be sacred between two people. And when you do certain things, when you're both experimenting together, it should be done as a husband and wife. I think when men and women are out there and want to experiment with certain behaviors shouldn't just be randomly done with just random people. If you're a husband and wife and you ask me to be your wife and I'm your husband and you want to then we're gonna both experiment with a threesome, that's a joint decision we're both gonna make. As a boyfriend and girlfriend or even a just someone you're just meeting, whatever, I don't feel they have the right to even put that pressure on you or demand that of you because what they're demanding of you is to bring a third party into your relationship and put a ring on your goddamn finger and make you somebody, you know what I'm saying? Make you their wife, make you their husband. It's certain things I don't feel they should have the right to even put those demands on you. I
I
think
just
it's
feel
kind
like
of, huh?
not everybody agrees with the marriage and that not everybody agrees with that. So or that ring or that traditional life that it's
Well,
painted for you. Like not everybody believes in that, right? So
no,
that's
I agree.
okay. That's
I
okay.
agree,
So
but
it
I
has to
agree.
work for them though. It has to work for you. So I feel like as long as you set that tone, whatever that relationship is, as long as you set that tone and that boundary from the very beginning of what that is going to be, then that's your foundation. So you coming in and changing, like, listen, I get that if y'all argue and if you fight and if it's too volatile, it's too toxic, or it's too this or it's too that, of course whether no matter how long you've been together, you leave the relationship. But when it comes down to something that's more of like a deal breaker or an intimacy thing that you want more of and your partner's not giving you, and you just like, all right, I gotta go, then that is what I'm saying is like, at that point, it's no longer a relationship.
I think we're too loose with our bodies in some areas. I feel that the same way a man, and we're gonna say man, use an example, the same way a man can ask so many demands of a woman, whether it be, and I'm gonna be raw here for a minute, give me head or expect this or expect that or expect you to do three something, expect all that, then you expect to be treated like a woman. You expect to be treated, with the intentions of what's in it for me. I mean, these men have so many demands on what they expect from women. I expect you to put a ring on my finger and marry me. If you have all these expectations of me, right, and you expect me to cook for you, clean for you, have a child for you, and everything else, then what's wrong with me expecting you to marry me, right? You
Right.
want too goddamn much, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
majority times, and I know men and women cheat, but men probably cheat more than women. Women are more tasteful when they cheat. They cheat emotionally. Men do just to do it. But if men want women to expect, or I'm sorry, to accept so many rules and regulations, they want to be able to cheat on you, but you can't cheat on them. They expect you to have a child for them, but they don't want to marry you. They expect you to have a threesome, but you can't have a threesome. They expect you to give them oral satisfaction whenever they want it, but when it comes to you, there might be a little problem, whatever. They have so many expectations, right? Why do we still feel the need to give them all these expectations for what? They ain't meeting our expectations or our needs. They're not. Conversation.
That's why men feel like that's why men feel like that, because it's more women out there and less men. So it's kind of
No,
like,
we have to raise the bar because having a communication, letting them know why can't we as women say to them, what you want a child? I'm not having a child for you unless you marry me. Simple as that.
well,
Make them
women are
know what.
saying that.
Or
Women are saying that though, and it's just not everybody's not saying that. There
or
are
mhm. Or
there are
women
women out there that have those standards set. Like they have that baseline set that I'm not doing that. I have not like I have girlfriends who have those standards that
you know,
refuse to budge on their standards until they meet their man of that's gonna fit every single box.
no, everyone needs to start talking. That's the problem right there. Communication is the key. You got to talk. You have to talk.
Absolutely.
You have to talk. You have to talk about what makes you tick. You have to talk about your likes and whatnot. Even though I know it may be a little uncomfortable, listen, if a man's not being satisfied by his woman and he feels that his woman's just laying there like a doorknob, when they're being intimate, it happens. It happens. Men
It
say
does.
that.
Uh-huh.
Men
Mm-hmm.
say that. Men say that they have sex with their wife for something to do, but she really ain't doing this or doing that. You know what? Have a conversation with her and let her know. Maybe she really is a freaking side, but if you're not giving her an opportunity, and I'm sorry, let me go back. If you make her feel like she's not important, women cannot connect and be intimate with you if you're treating them like shit. That's the bottom line.
Uh-huh.
That's what I want to point out. We have to communicate more often with our partners to let them know what we like sexually, men and females, husband, wives, whatever the combination is. But it's also very important to have these conversations because if you don't have the conversation as far as your needs and your wants, how do you know the person satisfying you? Most times people step out of relationships because they're not being satisfied at home. And I know that the people that they cheat with always say, if you're doing what you're supposed to do at home, then he wouldn't be coming to see me. Well, if they communicated to their partners what their needs are and what they want and give their partners an opportunity to try to meet their needs or to satisfy their needs and vice versa, then it wouldn't be all this going on. And a lot of men,
Girl,
what they
I
do,
do not believe that. I
I'm
believe men
telling you,
out there would cheat because they want to cheat. I believe
some
men out
will,
there,
some
their
will, some
relationship,
will.
yeah, so men are getting what they want to get at home. They get everything at home. Communication, not no nagging, cooked meals, babies running around, big booty, big boobs, and they still go out there and cheat. They still go out there and do it. It's the thrill for some of these men. It's the idea that they can go get it. They still got it. That's what it is
Yeah,
for
yeah,
them.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it
Right, I
ain't
agree.
just the communication. You can do everything you can for that man. It's not
No, I
about that for
agree.
them.
Listen, I do agree. I just feel that we have to do better communicating our needs and wants. We have to let our partners know what we like sexually. We let them know what we like in the bedroom. We need to let them know how we want to be handled. We want to be hugged, spanked, whatever the case may be. We have to communicate that to our partners. You know, if you want a healthy, intimate relationship, you have to start with communicating. Men have to be honest with what they want from their partners. Women need to be honest what they want from their men. You got to start having those conversations. And men need to be open to hear what women have to say about them, because a lot of men, they think they're putting it on, they're really not putting it on. We women just keep our mouths quiet. We don't say anything because we don't want to hurt their egos. So we need to have the conversations. It's very important. You have to have a conversation. But this was a good topic. It was a, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Definitely a good topic.
Don't forget to check out our other videos on our YouTube page and follow us on our social platforms. That's on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We talk about a lot of stuff on there all the time. So we want to hear from our listeners. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys right here, same time, same place next week.